So yeah, so for the monsters, we obviously had the 3 triple copies of Ecclesia, 2 top copies of Taiye, 3 copies of Longyung, 3 copies of Moye. This is pretty straightforward. There's not really much to explain here. Longyung's insane. Just like the burn really comes up a lot, especially in things like remote duels where like a lot of people like just kind of naturally play slower. Like this burn definitely came up like I think like 1 or 2 rounds of just in the main phase just burn. Yeah, double Taiye was fine, and yeah. For the rest of the monsters with the Tenyi package, triple Adhara, triple Vashuda, and triple Ashuna. I mean, these cards are just insane. There's not really a reason to not play them all at 3. If you're not, I don't really understand why. They're just all so good. Like, so naturally, it's a good going first engine because it can get you to your synchros and get to your Hockey Fiber X combo, which I do play. And then going second, they also apply pressure going second because you can go into Vashuda, and then I think this is obvious, but then as well as it can also start your plays by going into Chi Chao by itself without using your normal summon, as well as being able to go Boxia without using your normal summon, and that puts a lot of pressure on the opponent, which is two things that play through cards without using your normal summon is just absolutely insane. And being locked into Worms isn't that big of a deal in this deck because the new Swordsoul Synchro is just ridiculous. And then for the rest of the monsters, it was just the Deskbot 001 for the Hout combo, like I said. This is the only like brick in the deck. Everything else is like completely fine. This is the only card I hated seeing. I drew it multiple times. I am playing a flat 42. This isn't like some like insane number like a lot of the decks are playing. This is 40 cards. I stick to math, so this helps me draw my power cards way more. And then the last monster I played was Triple Lancey in the main deck. This card was MVP. Literally, I just shotgunned it every time I drew it immediately. Whether it stops like pot cards against some matchups, it stops the Brave Token package. This Chaos Dragons, it stops so much this format. Like the list just goes on forever. Also, if you like draw into it, main 2, or not main 2, turn 2. Like let's say it's like a shish card or something, and they like DPE'd you. You can also just like do it on their next turn so that they don't get a recovery play off of Celestial, which is like actually very relevant, and it's very hard to go for game if they do Scythe you. So that's just something else to keep in mind. And then for the spells, 3 Swordsoul Emergence. This is pretty straightforward. I'm not even going to explain it. Rhoda's Rhoda. 1 Sacred Summit. To be honest, I didn't like this card. I would cut it. I don't know what I would replace it with. Maybe like a Pot of Desires or something, but yeah, this card's just like not good. There's no like specific combo to make it. The only time this ever comes up is like you have to have a really awkward hand and you can end on 2 level 10 synchros and not just 1. But that hand's like super specific and it never comes up and you really never need this. It was just awkward a lot of the times. And that was pretty much it. And then 3 Vessel. This card is insane. Like it just being access to like any worm monster, getting it out of your deck is super relevant. Because like I said, even if you open up all Tenyis and Vessel, like it's fine because you can still get to your Swordsoul engine no problem, whether it be the Hout combo or sending like a Moye off this and then going Boxia, spin your opponent's board, and then bring back the Moye with the Boxia. Yeah, this card's just insane. Like I do think that there's a place for Circle too, maybe in future builds. That'll be like I might incorporate it more because there was a lot of times where like with the popularity of things like Ghost Ogre right now, be like Ghost Ogreing on Moye was something that was really prevalent. So like chaining Circle to that to add the Water Tenyi. That's just like an Omega punish, and they just instantly lose. So yeah, Vessel is just like ridiculous as always. Being able to add Tuner too, is dumb. And then this is where like I guess my deck kind of gets weird. I'll just show the Blackout. I played 1 Blackout. This is just whatever. Everyone plays this. And then like so for like the rest of the hand traps or whatever, like break your board cards. I played 2 copies of Chalice, 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, and 3 copies of Imperm. So the logic behind like this lineup, as well as with the Lancias, right? Because that's pretty much like the tech cards. It's just these. Everything else is like pretty standard Swordsoul Tenyi list. But like, so these came up so much because this is turn ending for like a majority of the decks of the format. So that's why I played. There were so many times I did this and they just go like Verte, DPE, and then like pass, and then like that's their board. It doesn't matter. And then if I just have like any of these, that just outs that. Plus like Vashuda just outs it. Like it's just it's completely ridiculous. These also stop the DPE Scythe thing. I know sometimes their board's like just absolutely insane depending on like the variant that they're playing. Like in top 16, my opponent had like went Herald when he did it, and that was like a huge issue. But yeah, a lot of times like this, just being able to hit whether it be Scythe or DPE on your own turn is super good. You have to remember Baron can only negate one time while it's face up. So if you have like 2 of these, that still stops it, even if they have like Baron, Scythe, DPE. You just let DPE resolve, pop the Scythe, and then Baron, and then DPE goes to grave. They bring back the Scythe, activate the Scythe, and then if you just have 2 of these, it's fine. You just imperm first, hit the Scythe, and then they go Baron, and you just use the other one, and it just stops it. So it doesn't really matter. Then like this deck really only needs like 2 cards to kill, and after that, it doesn't matter. And they go Verte. So they're at 6,000. You burn for 12 with Long Young. You only have to do like 4,000 damage. It's so easy. So yeah, these cards were all really good for the most part. The only matchups they were bad in was Elwich and Brave Prank Kids. Brave Prank Kids was my worst matchup by far. I played 3 of them in a row, and those are my 2 losses in Switch. In Swiss was Brave Prank Kids. So like, I mean, I got lucky against the 3rd one, but the first 2 just completely, like, I have so many dead cards because these don't do anything. Because you like, even if you use this, kind of does, but like if they distribute for cost originally, it doesn't matter. You could shotgun it too, but your hand's gotta be like really insane. But yeah, it just plays around it way too well. And they don't summon Butler immediately too. They just leave the fusion spell set, and they'll have like Griffin up. So they have Griffin Butler. So it's like Griffin double Raigeki with like a million hand traps, and like this deck has so much problems dealing with that. Like I didn't build to try to play through like I think the deck plays through hand traps well enough already, but doing like that board plus hand traps is just like way too much. So I guess going to the extra deck, we have the 3 like best monsters. All 3 of these cards are broken in their own way. So early rounds, I found myself going into this more, and then after the first few early rounds, I started going into this more. Because game 1, you're not worried about like Nibiru for the most part. Sometimes they do, but there's like this deck is so easily to make like Chao Fang level 10, level 8, and the Chao Fang is on white, so you can't get like Ogred or Veilered or Nibiru'd. So like that stuff's like super important. That was also a plus side of Ogre being very prevalent, and Lancia, like all that stuff being prevalent. I mean, they would have Lancia early, but whatever. That's like a plus thing about Chao Fang is that there's a lot of white hand traps being played right now. And having Chao Fang on white is just like super oppressive before your normal summon or anything like that. This card was just insane. This completely counters the Brave engine and the like whatever other engine they're playing. So like they go like right for Fateful, and then you banish the Fateful with this when they use the effect. That engine's done, and this is still another interruption. That's why that's so important. This card was insane. I could not stress enough. I just found myself making this more game 1 going first than anything else because it was just ridiculous. Baron's Baron. This was actually used more to clear boards, like going second, like to like pop a card and then like go in safely rather than like making it turn 1. I still made it turn 1 a couple of times if I don't have like Chao Fang or something, but it's just, you know, it's Baron's is broken. And this card came up actually a lot against like the Elwich, the PK, the DPE engine. Like this card is really good. I don't know how to describe it. Like every time I summon this, I won. This card is like 100% win rate. Every time this card hit the board, it was over. Whether you're banishing deep, like there's a time I banished like Celestial and like a Cursed Outline on the field. Like that's so much value in just one effect, as well as using Bashuda to bounce a card. Like it's all one thing. It's just disgusting. So yeah, this card is just like ridiculous. All these cards are just insane. I don't know how to describe it. Every level 10 synchro is just nuts. I think the pile deck should be playing like some of these, in my opinion. But I mean, besides Baron, I mean. And then for the level 8 synchros, this is straightforward. I'm not even going to explain this. This is like just whatever, double Chi Chao, Grandmaster to be able to search and starter, yada yada. The 1 Draco Berserker, again, this is obvious. It's just, like, okay, maybe it's not too obvious, but there's times where this comes up. You can banish DPE when they use the effect. That has happened before. I banished a Golden Ward with this one time. They just like activated Engrave to try to get through interruptions because there's too many. Yeah, like it's just like an okay card. Also, it's really good for when they go Anaconda. Being able to hit 2 things. It's just a lot of damage that you can put out if you hit over like something like a DPE in attack mode that you chaliced, because it goes to 29. You just beat over it with this. This gains 29, and then you just hit over the Predaplay, and that's just so much damage. It's insane. And then I played double Boxia. This card's broken. This is another card that I feel like if it resolves properly, you just win. Just like the game's just over. If you're like bouncing back 2 cards and then like reviving something, you better be winning that turn. That's how I see it. But yeah, this card won me like a million games. It's pretty straightforward. And then like I said, I played the 1 copy of Chao Fang. This was really good. A lot of decks are playing Nibiru, Ash Ogre, like I said. And then the Elwich decks being able to stop that. Then the pile decks even being able to use like the dragon like variants. I played one of them and not being able to use like White Dragon. was actually really relevant. I think there's some other cards. I'm just really tired and I don't want to think about it right now, but I'm pretty sure there was other cards that I could think of at the moment. And then for the last synchro, I played Yazi. This is also straightforward, but this is also part of the Hulk combo. There's also other combos you can do to help break boards with it. But yeah, this card is just ridiculous also. And then for links, we played Triple Monk. I will never understand how you don't play 3 of this card. 3 came up so many times. This card's insane. Like, it just makes the Tenyi engine so broken. And then the last 2 are just Halki 5-Rex and Auroradon. This combo is just dumb. Like, being able to go, like, Adhara, Moyi, and then, like, if they interact with Moyi, except Ogre. Ogre's the only one that, like, really works against it. But if they interact with Moyi, like, Veil or Imperm, you can just go into Hulk and then just do a full Hulk combo instead, and you still end on, like, triple synchro. You end on, like, Chaofeng, too. It's like really good. Or not, maybe not triple, maybe double synchro, I think. But yeah, overall, it's still just like insanely good. So that's it for the extra deck. And then for the side deck, we played 3 Duel. This was really good today. I just like all the 60 card decks and the right decks, like they're just adding in more cards that add. So if they go like Enchantress or there's Enchantress, right? I'll just say Enchantress. You can just draw them, and then the right's dead. Or not the right's dead, but they get like their Fateful's dead, so they get a token. But it's besides the point. They can't really do much, and all their all their plays just like suck really. Like they lose so much value off of everything, and then their actual engine doesn't work. So let's say like something like PK for instance, not being able to banish for things like gloves or what's it called, cloak, or not gloves, cloak and boots. Both of those are very relevant cards that that not being able to search with those hurts the deck a lot more than people think. So yeah, that was that. And then 3 Cosmic Cyclone. This was like another card against like obviously like general back row decks. That's like the obvious one. But any deck that was going like the Scythe combo, this is just another card that stops it. So if you go like just draw phase, they go like DPE. This is on top of like the Veil or Chalice Imperm. And what's it called? And can't remember the name of it. Droplet. This is just another card that stops that. So it stops you from getting Scythe. But, like that was kind of my mentality going into it. I knew that Scythe was going to be really prevalent, and I wanted at least like over 10 cards to stop me getting Scythe turn 1. So and obviously it still happened here and there, but it's the point is that the deck didn't. It was made to stop it, and it got me this far. So yeah. I also played triple copies of Evenly Match for going second against back row decks mostly. I didn't really put this in against combo, and it's not really that great against combo to be honest, because they just have interruptions anyway, and you're getting Scythe locked most of the time. So you don't really need Evenly Match in those situations. But this is really good against back row. It won me 2 Elrich matches. And something else. Sky Striker too, I think, was in there. Yeah. And then next I had triple copies of Dimensional Barrier. I never put this. I don't know. Maybe I did put it in once. I think I put it in like once. I never drew it. This card was never drawn. This could be anything else you want, but I never drew it, so I'm never going to say it was good or bad. And then 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Judgment was just great. It's like you go first, you put it in. Like I don't know how else to put it. If you go second, you take it out. You go first, you put it in. It's the say no to anything. Just 1-for-1 trade every time. As long as you're doing your combo, it doesn't even matter. And you can do your combo like I'll say like 90% of the time. Like breaking with this deck was so rare. To be honest, like all right, thinking back on it, every hand was playable. Like every single hand that I drew was playable. It was just how like depending on how fragile the hand was. I literally never drew an unplayable hand. It was just awkward and fragile. Whether it be just one emergence or something. Yeah, like it just was always playable. So yeah, that's the